But if I could like impress upon y'all any like kind of like words of wisdom, one, take so many pictures and video. I'm not for the sake of posting, but just for the sake of it. I mean, like almost like diary your life, because Jarrell's mom had passed away when he was in his 20s. And that was one of the things he said, I don't have enough pictures of her and I have no video. But Jarrell, he was like a secret vlogger. Like after he passed, I went through his phone, Mandy, so many pictures and video, like of just like him talking like, today was a good day. I did the laundry. Although Tiffany didn't cook, that's all right. I'm like, you know. So, but to go through and see all those things, so I created like a Google Drive and I added all the pictures, all the video. And then every person that came to see me, there's this thing you could do in Google where you can say, if this face appears in your phone, add it to the drive. And so we have thousands and thousands of pictures and videos. So at any moment in time, you know, you can hear him laughing or play or singing or just saying, I love you or whatever. So that, you know, that's like such a blessing. Like, I mean, it's not just like when it's birthdays. I'm just talking about, it's just a Tuesday, you know? And so like, collect that for yourself. And especially the mamas out there, so often you're taking pictures of the babies and you're not in it. You know, make sure like turn that camera around and put yourself in it as well. And then two, honestly, get your financial house in order. Like Jarrell and I were about 85% in order. And there were things we dragged our feet on, like, oh, like, for example, I did not have a will and neither did he. Cause I'm like, I mean, he's 41. We'll get, even though I've been working with Anjali, my financial advisor, for like 3 years. We met with her quarterly, the both of us. And every time we met, are you guys done with that will? I had Tony, who's my attorney. Tony, at least twice a year, she'd be like, let's get this will done. Because you're like, you can't anticipate that. But even though Jarrell didn't have a will, because we had a financial advisor and everything else, I knew exactly what he wanted, and as did everyone else. And so there's very little that like slipped through the cracks that the will had to cover. So that was good. But update also your beneficiaries, because like maybe just a year ago, Anjali was going through our beneficiaries. And for example, the one he had at his job, he still had Alyssa's mother on there, you know, from when he started that job when he was like 22, you know. And so update your beneficiaries, because there was one life insurance policy that he had ordered the beneficiary update form for, because it was like his homework. And I saw it in his inbox and he never signed it. And so that life insurance policy is not signed to Alyssa, and it ought to be. So that was kind of like, you know, thankfully, like I have grown more than enough wealth that like she will always be fine. But it's like, and then, and that was really it. Like, it was like, because we had done all of the other work, you know, those small things, you know, it's not small because the life insurance policy wasn't a little bit of money, but honestly, I can make that money back really quickly. But still, I thought to myself, you know, if I was still preschool teacher Tiffany, that could be devastating, you know, the loss of that and that insurance policy. So I'm sharing this transparently because so many times we wait, like literally, my dad is in his 80s. And I was like, yo, his will is still from when I was 6. It was until like I put my foot all the way down. I had Tony. I didn't know this, but one of the reasons why we didn't do a will is because I thought it was going to take a long time. And I was like, oh, I don't have time to dig through all my stuff. It was a 30-minute conversation with Tony. That was it. And in that conversation, she asked me all these questions and then she created the will. I was like, wait, that was it all this time? What I've been avoiding? I thought I had to collect. I thought it was like doing a will was like doing your taxes. You have to collect all of your stuff. And so I had her then, and then Tony said, I told her about my parents and my worry that they didn't have a will. They didn't have a healthcare directive. And she's like, I can create it. Just a general one, which just basically says something happens to dad, it goes to mom. Something happens to mom, it goes to dad. And I said, yes, create it. Because if I had to sit down with them and have these questions, they're not going to do it. She created it, their healthcare directive as well. I went to them. They read it over. They were like, this is good. We went to the bank and had them sign in front of the bank, and the bank notarized it for them, all within a couple of days. And so I just, because of the work we did, I get to just miss Jarrell. He didn't leave any debt. He didn't leave any like financial responsibilities that I'm like, what am I going to do behind? You know, we paid off both of the houses we have. including our rental property. We like his car was paid off. The last thing on his credit card was some sneakers that he bought me, but he didn't have any like real credit card debt. I think it was like, like $80 or something like that. And so the blessing in that is I get to just miss Jarrell. And, we talk about money here in kind of like this like outside way, but like it really hits home, like update your beneficiaries, get a will done, you know, put yourself in a position that you can just miss your loved one, or if it's you, your loved one can just miss you,
Yeah.
because if there is, there are things despite the grief that I'm grateful for, and that's one of them. And I want that for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a mom, nothing makes you think about dying more than having a kid, like,
Yeah.
all the time. It's a horrific thought. It's a horrific thought. I never want that to happen, but it is. I was kicking myself after having, like, conversations with you about not getting that kind of stuff in order before I had the baby, because even those conversations only got more difficult when it wasn't just me and, my husband. It was imagining a world where I wouldn't be there for my son. But it's very possible. And like, am I going to let that get in the way of preparing or creating a soft place for him to land and giving
Yes.
him, you know, exactly what he needs? So I hear you on that too. And I think for a lot of it's just like it's silly, that fear that we have to face the
Mhm.
reality that, we're all heading
One
one
day.
place, you
Yes.
know? It's a certainty. Just you don't know. The great trick of life is you don't know when.
Hmm.
Um, and it is that like estate planning and getting the beneficiaries in place. And then it's also, the beauty of your message, I feel like too, is that financial empowerment on an individual level, so that if
Yeah.
you're the one left behind, you have those resources. So that you said you can grieve on your own time.